Dale Hagland is 36 years of experience in the transportation and construction industry, have been a blend of growth opportunities. In addition to the various positions he has held during his career, he has volunteered for numerous professional associations. Dale joined the talented and energetic North Dakota Local Technical Assistant Program, Upper Great Plains Transportation Institute team in 2014, seeing the position as another opportunity to help the region's transportation leaders to grow. Please welcome Dale. Try to speak closer to the microphone.
Thank you, Pablo. And thanks everybody for making it today. What I'd like to do is go through a few building blocks, innovation building blocks that we've established and we're working on in North Dakota. But before I start, LTAP. Does everybody know what LTAP is? Local Technical Assistance Program. And do you know in your states, do you know your LTAP team by show of hands? Perfect, perfect. And do you value them? Do they serve a good role? Are they effective? I sure hope so, because I'm pretty proud of our LTAP in North Dakota. I'm pretty proud of the LTAPs around us and the other LTAPs that we tap into around the nation. So thank you for that response. So education, not the learning of the facts, but training of the mind to think. And really, when we think of pavement preservation and how we're getting people to think outside the box, that's really what we want people to do. Not just follow a standard protocol, but to understand the principles so that they can grow. North Dakota, where are we and what are we about? Well, we're in Northern Tier region, and we've got 53 counties. In those 53 counties, we've got 5 county engineers. The rest of the counties have county superintendents or auditors that manage the roadway system. So we've got a pretty big challenge of operating and helping the local leaders understand, from the very inexperienced all the way up to the very high-powered counties with engineering teams. We've got about 107,000 miles in our state. Of that, 7,400 are managed by the North Dakota DOT. All of those miles are paved, either asphalt or concrete. We've got about 6,600 miles of county roadway that are paved, and about 1,200 miles of city streets and segments that are paved. So a pretty small segment is paved out of our 107,000 miles, but nonetheless, that's where the bulk of our traffic comes from. So what do our roads look like? Well, first, the building blocks. One of the key reward items that we've been using is the book, How to Fly a Horse. Anybody read it? If you haven't read it, I encourage you to go get a copy and read it. What's it about? Well, let's look back at Edison. One day Edison's sitting around a table and he says, hey, I think I'll invent the light bulb. And that's how it happened, right? No, not even close. And it's not even close, just like our pavement preservation techniques. The way that the light bulb was invented was through incremental improvements, not just a great invention that popped into somebody's head. That's what pavement preservation is, those incremental growth opportunities that lead to something new. The roadway system that you see there, is that what you think of? Roughly 700,000 people in North Dakota, big state, not many people. Well, we do have roads like this. This is one of the roads in our state, and we do have open range on a few miles of our roadway. It is a nice roadway, well signed, well maintained, but most of our roadway segments don't look like that. Many of our roadways look just like yours. We wish they were better. This is a precursor to the interstate system that goes through our state. This is an old roadway. You can see the 1920s Mucker Road was widened, so you see some longitudinal cracking, and you can see the failures that were spray patched and had asphalt patches, and ultimately, this year, a thin overlay from the maintenance crew going on it. Rough road, sign we don't want to see, but we see it just like you do. Longitudinal efforts, man, just think back to the 90s. We thought we were doing a pretty good job. We weren't. We've got longitudinal joint issues just like you do. We're doing a better job now. We've got room to grow there. And how to seal them, how to maintain them, that's the second picture. What about new techniques? So in the 90s, we started our rumble strips, our rumble stripes. And how do they perform? How are they performing? Many of them not so good. If we had poor jointing and we try to put rumble strips, rumble stripes in, bad things happen. And so we learned the hard way. Crack sealing. Crack sealing probably looks just like yours. Is crack sealing important? Most of our local entities understand that crack sealing is their most important task in preventive maintenance. So this is a rare shot where nothing is sealed on a short segment. This would be a more typical roadway in North Dakota. Pretty nice section, a little bit of shoulder, a little bit of structure beyond the asphalt shoulder for the farm equipment, striping, and then rumble stripes on some of the segments, depending on low-cost safety improvement analysis. Well crack sealed. Looking around to some of our neighboring streets and roadway sections outside of North Dakota, typical, same style of repairs that we use. If we have a rutted section, and bottom line there on the rutted sections, we are really getting away from rutted sections. Our new oils, our new aggregates, our super pave mixes, and even with increased loading with ag and oil, our rutting is, I gotta say, it's almost under control. We're now on crack analysis for our pavement designs. And then full width, trying to maintain striping, a little bit of cost there, trying to preserve that, and crack sealing, very important. Here's another roadway section, another pretty typical. Not all of our roadways have edgeline striping, but this is more indicative of what we're going to see in North Dakota in just a few weeks as we go into winter shutdown. So, building blocks, what do they look like? Well, let's go through a few of them. With Dakota Asphalt Paving Association, Ken Swedin is a wonderful resource. He handles the Dakotas, and we're fortunate to get to work with him. We partner up with him and put on the Asphalt Conference. Our LTAP group, we put together the conference. We bring the speakers in. We invite the North Dakota DOT. We invite the counties, the cities, the consultants, and anyone that's working on the transportation network. We are the group that trains the DOT engineers, the consultants, and the counties in our state. The Asphalt Conference is key to our technology transfer and our growth in the state. The last 2 years, we focused on innovation extremely heavily. This year, we gave out How to Fly a Horse as some award recognition for efforts done in that arena. So what kind of things are handed off at the Asphalt Conference? Well, backing up again to the 90s, when we started with rumble strips, we didn't ever put fog seals on them. Why? Didn't think we needed to. We thought we'd put an overlay. We're now doing so small. It's Edison's light bulb, incremental small growth. We're putting oil, fog over those rumbles. What about over seal coats? We're fogging our seal coats. Now that one doesn't seem like much, but if you've been in the field and you've had cars go in the ditch because your seal coat bled, if you've had a problem with the seal coat in the past, this is a tough one. When people say you don't want to change, it's a tough one to get past because people get hurt. You go into court. And so to have more oil on top of your roadway surface to reduce the skid resistance is really counterintuitive. But through Ken Swedin and through other groups, we can share the technology with our new oils, the CRS2Ps and similar. Those polymer modifications have reduced our bleeding. So we can add the fog, not jeopardize the skid resistance, have a good seal coat. And it seems like a small thing, huge. One big finding from one of our counties, this is crazy, is that the public doesn't call in anymore if they fog the top. Any guesses why? Any guesses? Black. It's black. The people think that it's an asphalt pavement. Now, there are fewer chips going off, granted, but the calls completely stopped. So what a wonderful thing that in 1990, if someone would have suggested to me to fog a seal coat, there wasn't a prayer we were going to do it. Not a prayer. Because we had people in the ditch. We had to put up the slippery signs, which don't do anything to save lives. What does an asphalt conference agenda look like? Well, here's an example. Here, We tap into not only Ken Swedin, but Larry Galehouse. Larry's there helping us understand preventive maintenance. And we're talking to consultants. We're bringing in national speakers. And then we always bring in some local flavor. Something that's been tested, whether it performed well or whether it failed. We want to hand off those messages. And then very importantly, just like the noon luncheon, awards, the recognition of doing things right, doing things well, is extremely critical if you want to build our roadway system. This spring's conference, Buzz was there. Buzz was handing off information. We had Tom Wood. We had Minroads. We bring that information in, the new technology. I absolutely love, we're so fortunate in North Dakota to have Minroads so close because we get to tap into them all the time. We drive over that. Our patrons are always over it on the way to the Twin Cities. So they know it, they get it, they trust it. And now bringing NCAT in as that partnership is forming, wow. That's just hitting it out of the park because NCAT's research is so beautiful. It's immediate deliverables. So when Buzz talks about something that works, we're not talking about research that might work in a certain condition. It's something we can employ today. So what would one of the local flavors look like at our asphalt conference? Here's Kerry Johnson from one of our smaller counties. I absolutely love what Kerry did. He took a Nouveau material and he had depressed transverse cracks. So you get the thump, the thump, the thump. The ride is terrible. What are you gonna do? You know, the people seal the joints, they try to put coal mix in, tried all different kinds of repair options beneath the overlays, things like that. Really, we haven't had any great success with any of them. So what did he do really well here? He hired the supplier. He sole sourced this job. The half mile that you see behind Kerry, he hired the supplier to put it in to test the product. What's different there than what a state or the Federal Highway Department would do? He direct hired. He sole sourced that product. He just made the arrangements to do half mile. The difference is the supplier knows his material, knows when it can and can't work. They're gonna make sure it works. So if it performs, we know the material can perform. If it doesn't, we know that the material doesn't fit the climate. Kerry did a half mile test to prove to himself and his commissioners that this material might work. How does that vary from the state? Back up 20 years ago when I was with the DOT, we tried almost the identical product 20 years ago, and it failed. It failed because we contracted it out. We contracted it out, and the contractor was one party removed from the supplier. There was no skin off the contractor's back if it worked or didn't. The engineer was one step removed from the group that brought that idea forward. There was no skin off their back if it did or didn't perform, and it didn't. For 20 years, we set that product aside and didn't use it. Kerry put more down this year after testing it last year. We tested it, we demoed it at our asphalt conference. So we had some information, we brought it to the asphalt conference, and then we demoed it in the parking lot. So people got to see from Kerry, from the supplier, what the material looks like. Then we followed up. This spring, I just visited the job with Kerry less than a month ago. How's it performing? Well, if you look at these pictures, it's phenomenal. The ride, I'd say he's got about 95% of the ride returned and nothing for cracking. Now, if you remember the map, I'm from North Dakota, and our temperature swings are pretty dramatic. We're from 30 below to 110 above. We've got some pretty good thermal movements in our soil. After the first year, this is pretty good performance. Another building block, North Dakota DOT. The North Dakota DOT has taken through a special program, their Transportation Innovation Program, $2.5 million. They started in October of 2014. $2.5 million a year, and said, hey, you, and I really mean you, because it's not just within our limits of the state for the applications, but anyone in the world can apply for a project, product, or process in North Dakota that can help us better the roadway system. So we have people from all over that are applying for the funds to test on our roadway. $2.5 million. The beautiful part is that in This type of system, we're gonna have failures, and that's okay. It helps the state get out of their comfort zone and get into more of what a local entity would be comfortable with. Not everything's gonna work, but we're gonna give it a try. How do you apply for their funding? It's pretty simple. It's on the web. You fill out a simple application and turn in a proposal. What do some of the things look like? Texas Underseal. Texas Underseal is great in Texas. Does it work in North Dakota? Again, it's cold. Well, MnDOT, tested it. Tom Wood brought the information into our asphalt conference. We, last year, put our first Texas Underseal in North Dakota. If you don't know what a Texas Underseal is, it's pretty simple. Instead of an old pavement, an asphalt overlay, and a seal coat, flip them around, you put the old roadway, a seal coat, and then the overlay, new overlay on. What does it do? Well, in Tom's words, it works really well. I don't know why, so we just do it. It's really counterintuitive when you put that soft seal coat layer in between the asphaltic layers, because, I mean, now I've lost that structure of my pavement. I don't know how it's gonna bond. It seems like I might get some sliding, some shoving, but the opposite's true. They're performing really well in Minnesota, and ours is performing really well. The beautiful part is that the transverse cracking is reduced by about 70%. It's huge. The difference it's making is huge. Another product, before I get into this one, fibers, hot mix fibers. We're trying that in 2 locations. We've already got those down. We'll be monitoring them. The picture up here, Eurotech. They stabilized a frost heaving section of roadway, and did it work? Well, whether Eurotech is here or not, yes and no is my answer to that. Initially, it failed terribly. The smooth road in the summer that got rough in the winter from frost heaves now got all of its frost heaves right away when they put the Eurotech foam stabilizer in. So the road is extremely rough now. We had a smooth road, it's rough. How will it perform in the winter? Will it get even worse? We don't know. So we learned some really good things. So that was the part of the failure. We expected to just stabilize and move on. It didn't happen. But we also know that we need to do a mill and overlay. It might work in gravel, and it might actually stabilize that base. The North Dakota DOT, we partner with them on their local innovation. Each of the districts, we try to encourage them to be like counties, innovate, step out on the limb. Here's a stone mix asphalt with cellulose fiber and open surface course on it, and fly ash. Additionally, Willie, this is the Fargo district in the east, he's tried a new type of oil for seal coats that's performing well. We also partner at the university with 4 states, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and Wyoming. We video broadcast about 50 learnings out. We tap into our LTAP partners. Here's one of our Utah directors that gave a presentation. We tap into Larry at the Midwestern Pavement Preservation Partnership and have him hand off information. And then with our equipment suppliers, another innovation building block. With our equipment suppliers, they can run around, they know the people, but if they bring something that's tried and true to us, we're a good avenue to support them. So you've seen typical spray patchers, trailer system. I used them when I was with the DOT. Don't like them. I think they're extremely hazardous. They perform a function, but I don't think very well. But what I do like is the system where, the same system where the operator's in the cab. Now I've gotten the crew away from the back of the truck, right in harm's way of the traffic, put that person into the cab, remove the rest of the crew. I'm very efficient, and my crew is safe. I love this system. It's really simple to do. It's the same process as a trailer, just a lot faster and safe. We partnered with the Association of Recycling and Reclaiming, the Asphalt Association, and did a seminar, a workshop, much like we saw yesterday, where we did some micro milling. We had half-mile test sections, and we had about 100 DOT county people out. We did lime-based stabilization, cement-based stabilization, emulsified stabilization, and then on top of that, we did We had micromilling, we had micro or slurry seals, microsurfacing, and thin lift overlays, all for the team members to see, the participants to see. We also partner up with the North Dakota DOT to do self-paced learning modules. So on testing, items that can be done on off-season periods, those items are available. We partner with our 7-state region of LTAP, and there we host a conference for about 360 people. That's next week. And there we'll talk about pavement preservation, asphalt basics. Innovation is local. This is kind of funny. It's just, what is that new thing out there? I mean, this is crazy, but after I saw it, it's kind of funny. You know, does it cause accidents or cause us to slow down? I don't know, but it's the outside the box kind of thinking that we really need to work on. Innovation truly is local. Our LTAPs are the perfect conduit to take that university research, the DOT research, and hand it off to the locals. As Pablo and I were talking earlier, we're the experts on the ability to communicate well and the ability to hand off that quality information so that we grow the system. I hope you like LTAP. I love that you raise your hands. And if there is any really big love, there is a Montana director position for LTAP open right now. So opportunity knocks. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Dan.